What can you only admit anonymously? I reported my sister to CPS. Genuinely feared for her kids. They were removed and she went to rehab. They are together now and good, but I'll never tell. You did a good thing. It's okay if you don't say it out loud. Probably no good will come out of it if it is said out loud. I wish my aunt had called CPS on my mom. I would be a different person right now. You saved her children from years of possible trauma. As an adult that had a rough childhood, I thank you on their behalf. Sometimes love can be hard. My wife's family doesn't know that I speak Spanish. It's been 10 years. I know everything they're saying all the time. What are some highlights you've heard? At first, a lot of shit talking. I got thick skin. The most heartwarming was her dad telling his dad, basically, that he'd be okay if I married his daughter. A happy ending. Just start speaking Spanish randomly at the dinner table like it's not weird. Just a decade later, start randomly speaking it fluently. That would be glorious. Fake a head injury and it'll be like one of those ridiculous stories that spread online about people being fluent in a language they don't know after such an event. As a prank, maybe dropping something in the kitchen when they're in there alone together and have him fake pass out and only speak Spanish after waking up when the family comes to check on them. It would be even funnier if they knew he knew and were just saying mean things about him to fuck with him. Sometimes I advise nursing home residents on sneaking in contraband. I was a volunteer at a hospital. I was 16 and befriended a little old lady suffering from diabetes. She had gotten her legs amputated and was on hospice care. She begged me for Cuban bread and coffee and I was afraid to sneak it in. One day I hid it in a bag and brought it to her, and I remember how happy she was. She ate everything up. She passed away not long after that, and her son told me how much she talked about me. I like to think she got a little joy out of the little coffee and bread. Why would anyone restrict the diet of someone on hospice? That is nuts. Let them enjoy their last days. You would be surprised. These issues get real dicey in terms of ethics, especially for people with dementia who can't really participate in those choices or voice their wishes. Choking is horribly traumatic, and sometimes we have to anticipate that the distress from that is not worth the joy of eating that food one last time. But in general, I agree, as long as a person is capable of understanding the potential consequences, people should be able to do as they damn please with the last of their time on Earth. You're a hero. Nursing homes are homes, and people should still be able to do the things they did at their main home before moving there, safely as possible, of course. Plus, they're in a damn nursing home. There's not much fun there at all, to put it in a polite term. Worked in an Alzheimer's lockdown unit when I was 20. It almost broke me, and my uncle has recently been put into one for dementia. Thanks for what you do, I mean it. I reported a family member for hurting his wife. Good. Well done. In 2009, I was working in a restaurant and took a reservation for 15 people that were coming in a few weeks later. I forgot to tell anybody, and when they started showing up, it was a nightmare because we weren't staffed or prepared for it at all. Nobody ever found out who took the reservation, and I haven't told anybody until now. It feels good to get that off my chest. I knew it was you. When I was a waitress at Olive Garden, I completely forgot about a table for a solid 30 minutes after they were seated. They didn't know I was their waitress and wanted to know where the hell they were. I just played it off like she had left early without anyone realizing and took over their table. Still got a tip. Has someone been by to get your drink order? Oh my gosh, I'll go ahead and take care of you. I am so sorry. Every server that forgot, ever. I lied in my resume and I got a job in IT. This was 10 years ago. It's been a lot of learning since, but I am killing it. Many in IT start this way. Keep grinding. I've never had sex. I'm nearly 40. I always wanted to have a partner and be a mum, but then I had a mental breakdown for nearly 10 years, and even though I'm finally on the way to normal, I'm not there, and I feel like I've run out of time to be who I used to dream of being. I still can barely look after myself, let alone others. I'll probably be alone forever, the spinster aunt. I'm nearly 40 and have only had one meaningful partner and one one-night stand. The relationship I've had was when I was a late teen to mid-20s, and it's been so long that I've been alone that I find it hard to even imagine that changing. I'm the fun but slightly weird uncle. But I've always wanted the whole family life. Seems less likely as the years go by. Glad to hear you're on the way to normal. I do my best to enjoy life as it is for me, even if it tends to be a lonely one at times. I hope you're doing well. Now Kith. OP, you are only nearly 40. Take it from this 60-year-old, you are entering some of the best years of your life. Get out there and do the things you've always wanted to do, you'll be surprised at what you'll discover. Now go. I met my husband at 39. We have a wonderful 22-year-old daughter and have been together for 25 years. New lease of life for you in your naughty 40s. Don't fret. I preferred my life and I was happier before I had kids. It's more common than you think. You aren't alone. Hugs. This happened to my sister-in-law's husband. They both talked about kids before they got married, agreed that they wanted to have kids, but once the kid was in the picture and it started affecting his sleep and mental health and he became suicidal, he realized that it wasn't the best call for him, but unfortunately the kid's already here. Now she wants another baby and he doesn't know if he will survive it, but if he doesn't give her another child, she will apparently never feel the same way about him. My partner and I are child-free and I cannot fathom wanting to have another child while my partner is in suicidal crisis. I hope you can find joy wherever possible in your life and with your family. Emotionally extorting a child from your suicidal partner is insane enough even if having children isn't the literal reason your partner is suicidal. I love being alone and delusional. I have so many fantasy worlds that sometimes I think I'm crazy. But I'm 100% happy in any of my fantasy worlds, and honestly sometimes I prefer staying home and being delusional than going out and dealing with people. That's maladaptive daydreaming, my dude, I have it too, lol. I really wish I knew where I wanted to go sooner in life so I could have better prepared myself for after high school. I'm in my late 30s and still have no idea where I'm going. I'm more of a go with the flow kind of guy, so it works for me. I faked a medical condition to get out of gym class freshman year because I was being bullied, tormented so bad by the senior who would always be in my class. He had study hall that period, so he would come to the gym and help the teacher. I tried telling the gym teacher and guidance counselor, but neither seemed to really give a shit and nothing was done. I told my parents I was having terrible abdominal pains. Doctors did all kinds of tests and couldn't find anything, but I was given a doctor's excuse for the whole year. Skip to my sophomore year, asshole kid was graduated and gone, weird abdominal pains miraculously went away and I enjoyed gym class like everyone else. As a pediatrician I can tell you that chronic abdominal pain in a school-age kid would absolutely result in the two of us having a nice private conversation to make sure nothing like this is going on. The number of times either real or just reportedly real chronic abdominal pain in kids is a manifestation of something stressful or traumatizing in their life is very, very high. We need more doctors like you that give a damn. The world would be a better place. I act really confident. But I question every decision I make. Confidence isn't about always knowing you're right, it's about embracing the uncertainty and moving forward anyway. Doubt doesn't mean you're weak, it means you're thoughtful. I pretend I enjoy life, but truth is it seems like the same days repeats itself and every yesterday seems better than today. I don't necessarily want to harm myself, I'm just tired of living. I like life just enough that I have never killed myself. Louis C.K. I've stolen some of my neighbor's cats because she neglected them and was backyard breeding. Many I still have and are very happy and well fed. She saw them in my care a while ago, she didn't even recognize any of the poor babies. Nor did any have names previously. Sometimes the cat distribution system needs a little help. As a fellow cat lover, thank you. At my first eye exam at 7 years old, I lied real bad to get glasses. I just really wanted to wear cute glasses. I tried this too. It didn't work for me. You had to wait until the last 2 lines to start blundering to make it believable. I'm ashamed 7-year-old me had that kind of manipulation awareness. My mom was dying in a nursing home and I thought I had more time or didn't think and went to a weekend jam band show. Just before the start of the second evening I got a call that she died. The thought of her being left alone to die haunts me almost daily. I wake up crying saying, "Mom, I'm so sorry, please forgive me." I know it was a terrible thing and I deserve zero forgiveness. I just hope I'm not left to die alone. I have so much regret and wish I could change it. Forgive yourself. Please. When my dad was in at-home hospice, my sister was there with him almost daily. She was pregnant with my niece. It's important to share that my dad fought cancer for 2 years and always asked me to bring him to chemo, get medicine, etc. BC My sister was married and had a son while I was in school living at home. He wanted her to prioritize her nuclear family and well, I had the time and was living with him. Ha ha. By the time entered hospice, she was a maybe 5 months pregnant with my niece, so she was able to be there with him and take care of him. She was there every day. One day, she couldn't come in the morning BC, she had a meeting for work, but would be there right after to take post next to him in bed. And that was the morning my dad passed. He passed on the day she wasn't there next to him. I know my dad. He never wanted us to worry about him, but he was also very, very sensitive to the fact that my sister was pregnant. I firmly believe he was never going to pass in front of her BC, he was worried about her health and my niece's health. So please, do not beat yourself up. And don't blame yourself. Even if you were there, you'd feel guilt about all of the times you weren't there and how you should have done this or done that. Hindsight is 20/20, so it's easy to say what you could and should have done when you're looking at the past from the eyes of the present. She knew you loved her. She knew you cared about her. And I promise she'd want nothing more than for you to let that guilt go. You deserve some peace. A distant relative passed away and left me an extremely substantial inheritance. I can't let anyone know because people are people and I don't want to discover my real friends the hard way. I got a 7-figure amount from a great aunt that I don't even remember seeing when I was like 4 years old 3 decades ago, but I do have a picture with her in my family album. Nobody knows. I still drive a rusty $1,000 2008 Honda Civic and live in a tiny apartment. All I did with the money so far was pay off my credit card and start buying slightly better quality food at the grocery store. I don't even want to travel because family members would surely start asking questions. That the first person I ever fell for gives me a weird neurological response, like I'm a teenager again and falling for the first time. They reached out to me after decades and it was so odd. Since I'm happily married, I blocked them and actually I'm not even on socials anymore, but it was weird, a bit unsettling and incredibly uncomfortable. So I actually Googled this because I couldn't understand why I still feel like a teenager when I run into my first love. I'm 37. Apparently your brain used that person, your first love, heartbreak, and those experiences to imprint on you, and every time you meet that person again, the imprint just starts playing in your head again. I kinda like the way it feels when I pull hair out of my butt crack in the shower. Sometimes I wonder if I made the right choice cutting off certain family members for my own mental health. On one hand, it was necessary, but on the other, I carry a bit of guilt that I'd never admit to anyone close to me. I don't fit in anywhere. At work I feel like the uncool girl, the fat ugly one that everyone ignores. I don't have close friends as they've all moved on with their own lives. I'm the one left behind and forgotten about. 2012 was when Twitter was starting to boom and I was in high school. I'd randomly peek at all my popular classmates' Twitter accounts, I didn't follow them, just started browsing through the open ones. Stumbled across a guy I had many classes with who had tweeted something like, "If I bring this gun to school I wonder who I'd shoot first in here." I had a gut feeling to report it to my school, and I did. Everyone at school talked about how he got suspended and there was a huge investigation into him. To this day, no one knew it was me who reported the guy. I've been taking prescription pain medication for years, but abusing it, and the script wouldn't last the entire month, so then I'd have a couple of weeks of misery until my next refill. But I couldn't stop myself. Long story short, I found out the same medication is available in a crush-proof form, so I asked my doctor to keep me on it. I feel much better about myself for taking my meds as prescribed. Honestly, this random internet stranger is proud of you for recognizing you were in trouble and doing something about it before it got worse or out of control. Seriously, that takes some real willpower. When I was younger, a friend of mine was being sexually abused by her stepfather. When I found out, I confronted him and ended up beating him with a brick so badly he ended up in the hospital. He never told anyone. To this day, I don't think anyone knows I did it. Man who pees sitting down here. I have my dick pierced. If I stand up, it's like trying to play a flute filled with water. It brings me comfort to know I could just kill myself. IDK, I don't have a plan or anything, but sometimes it feels nice that I could just end it. On my terms, and my pain would just stop. I'm too afraid to live and too afraid to die. I've given up on thriving and just focus on surviving today. I'm passively awaiting something to make the choice for me. A deer jumping out in front of my car on the highway? A terminal cancer diagnosis? A heart attack, a stroke out of nowhere? It'll come someday, and while it'll be scary, the finality of it gives me comfort. My boyfriend bought me a special soup spoon to eat soup with. He gave me reasons why. He just knew it would be my favorite and is pleased every time I use it. I fucking hate this spoon. It's big, clunky, and thick. He, and anyone that could tell him, will never know this. My mom introduced me to porn when I was 5 years old and used it to Sammy till I was 16. I'm disgusted at myself for thinking it was normal and for letting it go on so long. I'm sorry this happened to you. It absolutely was not your fault. Our parents are supposed to be someone that we can trust. I didn't like the chicken salad Mum made for me last week. I'm existing but not really living, I think. I may be an adult, but I feel like I'm a kid in an adult's body. I'm not ready for what most of life has for me. I was sexually abused by my grandmother's husband as a child. It stopped when he was sentenced to 10 years in prison for sexually abusing other females in my family, but I never spoke up. I was 12 when my dad asked, and I said no. The cops asked, and I said no. Then I watched my sister, my aunts, my cousins, and other young girls go through a trial that was so emotionally and mentally hard for them, but I still stayed quiet. 20 years later, I still don't even really know why, except maybe I didn't really understand what was happening. I'm glad he was sentenced and got what he deserved, but I feel like bringing it up now wouldn't be productive for anyone. I sneak into homes and remove one sock from their laundry. I shit myself on Christmas Eve. Whilst putting the tree skirt under the Christmas tree on Christmas Eve 2019, I, a grown man, decided to make my family laugh by farting. I then proceeded to talk with my butt like Ace Ventura whilst still on my stomach. Turns out I shit myself when I farted and I unknowingly sloshed it around pretending to talk with my butt. I hate my husband. I hate my life with him. My life has progressively got worse since I married him. He puts me down, he is terrible company, he is a narc. He leads with fear. But I have a special needs child who is my whole world and whose quality of life would be 10x worse if I ever left. So I am never going to leave until my son gets better or until I win the lottery to be able to afford help. I am an orphan, so no family support, and this man would never co-parent or contribute if I left. I was the one putting the cat toy in my husband's shoes.